Lit it on our first night in that cheap Italian place. A tiny dent and promise on your hopeful, nervous face. In the glow we kept it burning through the years, through power outages and storms. A fragile constant fire that kept us safe and warm in the dark. But lately drafts have found it, from open windows left ajar, from words left unspoken, from dreams that stray too far. From each other I'd cup my hands around it, you'd turn away to shield the breeze. Our efforts out of sync, a slow and painful disease of the flame. Now it's love's flickering candle, a weakened guttering light, fighting for its oxygen in the middle of the night. Of our silence, 1 minute is a steady beat, my memory of the blaze. The next is just a struggling, smoky, desperate haze. On the wick we're both just watching, paralyzed, afraid to make a move, to blow it out or save it, to disapprove or approve of the ending. It's love's flickering candle, and the wax is almost gone, pulled around the base of what we build upon and call forever. A part of me wants to snuff it, to end the anxious wait and dread, to let the darkness have its way, to go to bed in the honest cold. But another part still prays for a miracle, a sudden steadying air, a forgotten hidden reserve of wax, a repair of the very heart of it. Maybe some candles aren't meant to last, their purpose is the spark, to light the room just long enough to see, to make your mark, then fade. And maybe we've been trying to preserve a moment into a lifetime, and the flickering is the universe's own rhyme for let it go. Now it's the flickering candle, a weakened guttering light, fighting for its oxygen in the middle of the night. Of our silence, 1 minute is a steady beam, a memory of the blaze. The next is just a struggling, smoky, desperate haze. On the wick we're both just watching, paralyzed, afraid to make a move, to blow it out or save it, to disapprove or approve of the ending. It's love's flickering candle, and the wax is almost gone, pulled around the base of what we build upon and call forever. A final sputter, a world of clutter in the dark. Love's flickering candle leaves no mark. We had our own title cards in the beginning, bright and bold. A meeting in the rain, a story to be told. We were the stars, the piano score was playful, fast and sweet. Our gestures large, our happiness complete. In black and white. But then the music slow turned minor, Genevieve and sad. The title calls go farther Things happened off screen, our faces, once so eloquent, began to just react with widened eyes, with backs that are turned, a silent, painful past to not speak. And now it's love's silent movie, a well-again my mind, a story told in glanced it, but I can't leave behind in the projector. The final reel is damaged, it flickers and it jumps. The last title card just says the end in melancholy bombs of text on screen. And there's no soundtrack now, just the whirring of the wheel, just my own breath, trying to seal what the music once told me. It's love's silent movie, and I'm the only one in the theater, watching our joy turn into a lonely, quiet feature of my past. Sometimes I try to narrate it, to add the words we didn't say, to explain the plot holes, to find a different way. He could have ended, but the silence is the point, the great gaping void, where our communication was utterly destroyed by pride or fear or time. Maybe all dying loves become silent movies, the dialogue the first to go, replaced by meaningful looks that nobody can know. The meaning of angel left with the pantomime of a relationship, a dance where every step is just a desperate backward glance at what was when the music came. Now it's love's silent movie, a relic in my mind, a story told in glances that I can't leave behind in the projector. The final reel, if damaged, it flickers and it jumps. The last title card just says the end in melancholy bombs of text on screen. And there's no soundtrack now, just the whirring of the wheels, just my own breath, trying to feel what the music once told me. It's love's silent movie, and I'm the only one in the theater, watching our joy turn into a lonely, quiet feature of my past. Fade to black, no coming back. Silent movie is a history. Is a history. echoes all creak with memory. The floorboards moan your name. In certain drafty corners I can feel the ghostly flame of your presence. Room by room is furnished with the echoes of our fights, the whisper, sweet apologies in the dead of night. Now just whisper. The master bedroom's coldest, the tomb of what we shared. The kitchen's full of laughter, goals for which I'm never prepared. At breakfast I'm the caretaker, the owner and the only guest, trapped in this architecture of a love that's been repressed but not exercised. My heart is a haunted house, and I'm living in it still, a prisoner to the phantoms, to the echoing sharp chill of your leaving. I could sell it, burn it down, or board it up for good, but something in this haunted wood feels like home, the only home I've known since you. My heart, a haunted house, and every ghost is wearing your familiar blouse or your smile. I turn the lights on, but the shadows have their own persistent power. It's a haunted house, and I'm here every hour. Sometimes on brave days I'll redecorate a wall, paint over a memory that feels too tall and looming, but the smell of fresh paint can't cover up the scent of you that lingers in the structure, in the very morning dew on the window pane. Maybe one day I'll hire an exorcist, a therapist, a friend, to help me cleanse the hallways, to help the haunting end. Or integrate, maybe the ghosts become just stories told with a wistful sigh. Not jump scares in the darkness, not a reason why I can't move on. Maybe the house becomes a museum, not a prison of the past, a place I visit sometimes but don't hold myself fast inside forever. My heart is a haunted house, and I'm living in it still, a prisoner to the phantoms, to the echoing sharp chill of you leaving. I could sell it, burn it down, or board it up for good, but something in this haunted wood feels like home, the only home I've known since you. My heart, a haunted house, and every ghost is wearing your familiar blouse or your smile. I turn the lights on, but the shadows have their own persistent power. It's a haunted house, and I'm here every hour. Boo, who's there? Just me and the empty air. In my heart, a haunted house. My heart, a haunted spouse. There's no stone in the cemetery, no days carved deep in slate, no flowers left on Sunday, no one to mourn our our fate. Publicly it's buried in the field behind the house we almost bought, in the sound of a thought I nearly caught and then let go. It's interred in 1,000 unsent texts, in a playlist set to private. In the way I say I'm fine, with a smile that tries to vibe it, but fails. It's a secret burial, attended by just one, me in the setting of a sun that witnessed everything. This is love's unmarked grave, where I come to sit alone with the ghost of what we built from blood and flesh and bone. In time no epitaph declares beloved or too soon, just the quiet growing grass beneath the lonely moon. Am I remembering? I know the spot by heart, by the ache beneath the oak, by the particular way the morning light awoke the pain. This is love's unmarked grave, and I am its sole curator, tending to a loss that has no nomenclature but my own. Sometimes I think I'll mark it, plant a rose or leave a note, but that feels like an admission, like getting stuck in one deep throat of grief, so I let it stay anonymous. A secret part of the land, a hidden sacred hurting piece that only I understand the location of. Maybe all great lost loves get unmarked graves in the end, because the monument then would be to pretend they're truly over. Maybe the unmarked grave is a kindness, a return into the earth without the weight of memory assessing its worth to passers-by. It's just for me, this patch of ground, this specific hollow lake, a pilgrimage I make for my own sanity's sake, and no one else's. This is love's unmarked grave, where I come to sit alone with the ghost of what we built from blood and flesh and bone. In time no epitaph declares beloved or too soon, just the quiet growing grass beneath the lonely moon. Am I remembering? I know the spot by heart, by the ache beneath the oak, by the particular way the morning light awoke the pain. This is love's unmarked grave, and I am its sole curator, tending to a loss that has no nomenclature. My own rest in peace, what we were beneath the blur of seasons. Love's unmarked grave, for my own reasons. I used to be an open novel, pages wide and free. You could read my every chapter, you could know the whole of me. Without asking, I gave you the index of my fears, the glossary of dreams. I was a story seeking solace in your beams of attention, but you dogged the painful parts. You underlined my flaws. You read me not for pleasure, but to find the hidden laws that broke me. You used my own narrative against me in arguments at night, until the story that was me no longer felt quite right or mine to tell. Now my love is a closed book, bound in leather, locked in tight. No one gets to read the pages, no one gets to see the light of my plot. The chapters on you are finished, sealed with glue and time. The spine is cracked, but the story is now wholly mine. To keep or burn, I hold it on my lap, this weight of all I've been. But I don't offer it to anyone, I don't know where to begin. To let them in, my love is a closed book on a very high shelf, a story I am writing now, just for myself. Sometimes a kind hand reaches, a curious, gentle gaze, and for a second I consider these new potential days of sharing, but my fingers tighten on the cover, a reflex born of pain. And I smile and I turn away in the pouring rain of my own making. Maybe one day I'll be a library again, with open welcoming doors. Maybe I'll trust someone to read between the lines, to love the metaphors and the footnotes. But for now, the silence of the closed book is a sanctuary, a retreat, a place where my own ending and my own beginning meet without critique. Now my love is a closed book, bound in leather, locked in tight. No one gets to read the pages, no one gets to see the light of my plot. The chapters on you are finished, sealed with glue and time. The spine is cracked, but the story is not wholly mine. To keep or burn, I hold it on my lap, this weight of all I've been. But I don't offer it to anyone, I don't know where to begin. To let them in, my love is a closed book on a very high shelf, a story I am writing now, just for myself. Village stone by faithful stone, with vows for mortar strong, a sacred hidden sanctuary where our love belonged. Alone the stained glass was our future, in colors bright and bold. The altar was our promises, a story to be told for eternity. I was the devoted parishioner, I came to pray each day, to light a candle for us, to kneel and softly say my gratitude. You were the restless priest who slowly lost the faith, who left the sacraments untouched, who walked a different path away from the poor. Now my heart's an empty chapel, echoing with silent prayers. Dust on the pews where we once sat, and nobody climbs the stairs. To the bell tower the candles have all guttered out, the holy water's dry. Our hymns are just a memory against a grey stone sky of solitude. It's a beautiful dead monument to a God that didn't stay, a religion of two people that just faded away into doubt. My heart's empty chapel, and I can't bring myself to leave. It's the only architecture I believe in anymore. Sometimes a tourist wanders in a new and curious light, and for a moment I think maybe I could reunite the incense, but the air is too still, the echoes are too loud, and I just guide them gently out, away from the shroud of my past devotion. Maybe one day I'll deconsecrate it, turn it into something new, a library or home with a different secular view of the space. But for now it stands as is, a museum of my trust, a crumbling, gorgeous, lonely place, returning slowly to dust and to nature. Now my heart's an empty chapel, echoing with silent prayers. Dust on the pews where we once sat, and nobody climbs the stairs. To the bell tower the candles have all guttered out, the holy water's dry. Our hymns are just a memory against a grey stone sky of solitude. It's a beautiful dead monument to a God that didn't stay, a religion of two people that just faded away into doubt. My heart's empty chapel, and I can't bring myself to leave. It's the only architecture I believe in anymore. Silence again. My heart's empty chapel. Amen. I found it in the trash can on a Tuesday by the curb. Not a metaphor, the actual physical words. I wrote to you the letters tied with ribbon in a box you'd labeled old. A story of my heart that you had gotten cold and decided was garbage. I stood there on the sidewalk in the rain and pulled them out. The ink was running, bleeding, there was never any doubt of the faith you hadn't even burned them, giving them a dignified end. Just tossed them out with coffee grounds. My love, my soul, my friend, to be collected. This is the love you discarded, left out with the weekly waste, a testament to how carelessly our time was faced. And ended, you treated my devotion like a used up empty can, something to be messy, soggy, overflowing sack of feeling. I'll be the keeper of its worth. I'll dry them by the fireplace, I'll press them in a book. Not for you, not for the future, but for the honest look they give me of a woman who loved with a ferocity so deep that even when discarded, that love is hers to keep and learn from. Maybe your trash is my treasure, maybe your done is my begin. Maybe the love you threw away is the love that I will win back for myself. Maybe discarding it was the kindest thing you ever did, freeing me from the hope that you still kept it hid somewhere sacred. Now I know this place in the rain by the street. Now my love is mine and mine alone complete. This is the love you discarded, left out with a weekly waste, a testament to how carelessly our time was faced. And then did you treated my devotion like a used up empty can, something to be recycled or buried in the land of your forgetting. I took the sodden pages home and laid them on the floor, a monument to how I couldn't love you more and you less. This is the love you discarded and I'm taking it back, it's mine. This messy, soggy, overflowing sack of feeling. I'll be the keeper of its worth. My love, not trash. From the edge, I'll rise with a splash. I'm making a list in a spreadsheet, cold and clean. Column A, what was column B? What might have been the cost I'm itemizing memories like assets to be sold. The trip to Mexico, but your hand was warm. I'm counting up the inside jokes, there were 123. I'm logging every tear you caused and every time you set me free. For now, weighing the good years against the bad, a brutal honest math, calculating the aftermath of our merger. This is love's final inventory, a clinical stark review of everything I invested and everything I lost in you and us. The net result is negative in bold and flashing red, a conclusion I've dreaded, but I finally read and accepted. I'm closing the books on this chapter, on this failed joint enterprise, with nothing to show for it but the sorrow in my eyes. And this spreadsheet, love's final inventory, proves the business was a bust, leaving only this profound and aching trust in the numbers, not the heart. I'll save the file to my desktop, a lesson in a name, project heartbreak, final Excel 6, a monument to shame. And foundation now bankrupt and in shock, and the inventory is the only solid rock. I have to stand on the data doesn't lie, even if it doesn't tell the whole messy truth of the beauty of my faith and the folly of my youth. This is love's final inventory, a clinical stark review of everything I invested and everything I lost in you and us. The net result is negative and bold and flashing red, a conclusion I have dreaded, but if I finally read and accepted, I'm closing the books on this chapter, on this failed joint enterprise, with nothing to show for it but the sorrow in my eyes. And this spreadsheet, love's final inventory, proves the business was a bust, leaving only this profound and aching trust in the numbers, not the heart. I said zero, liar, here it is, of this story. Love's final inventory. I thought it would, I truly did, when you walked out that door. I thought the sun would pause its climb, would not rise anymore in protest. I thought the birds would forget their songs, their rain would never fall, that gravity itself would heed my desperate silent call and just cease. But the alarm still bled at 7, and the coffee still brewed black, and my boss still sent me emails expecting something back. On deadline, the grocery store still sold the bread you liked to toast, and the radio still played that song we hated most, without a care. But the world didn't stop, it just went cruelly on, a spinning heartless marble under the same old sun and moon. It didn't pause for my grief, it didn't slow for my pain. The traffic lights still changed, still fell the rain on everyone. My personal apocalypse was just a Tuesday in the park, a silent private cataclysm, leaving no external mark on the cosmos. The world didn't stop, and that's the hardest part to bear, that my ending was so small in the indifferent air of eternity. Of eternity. I'm learning to move with it now, this world that didn't care, to put one foot in front of the other, to breathe the same shared air. As happy people, my heart is a ruin, but my body buys the milk. My soul is shattered, but my hands know how to sew the silk of a daily life. Maybe the world not stopping is a kindness in disguise, a forced march back to living under ordinary skies. that demand participation. Maybe the greatest grief is one the world accommodates by ignoring it, by keeping all its dates and appointments. It drags you forward even when you're anchored in the past. But the world didn't stop, it just went cruelly on, a spinning heartless marble under the same old sun and moon. It didn't pause for my grief, it didn't slow for my pain. The traffic lights still change, still feel the rain on everyone. My personal apocalypse was just a Tuesday in the park, a silent private cataclysm, leaving no external mark on the cosmos. The world didn't stop, and that's the hardest part to bear, that my ending was so small in the indifferent air of eternity. The world spins, my heart bends, but I'm on it. The world didn't stop, and I'm upon it. You were between great loves, recovering from the fall. I was a pleasant melody you heard down the hall, and alhamdulillah, I was the bridge between the verses of your life, a calming, gentle passage, not the reason for the strife or the glory. You told me all your stories of the one before and then, and I, the fool, thought I was the beginning, not the end. But for now I filled your empty evenings with my laughter and my light, a temporary comfort in the middle of the night of your transition. I was your interlude, a beautiful brief pause between the acts of your own life, without a true because or reason to last. You never saw me as the main event, the headline on the stage. I was the calming music as you turned another page in your own story. And when the next great love walked in with her own demanding song, my interlude was over. You'd known it all along. I was the placeholder, I was your interlude, and now the show goes on with a different star to shine upon, a different stage. Now I'm writing my own opera with a narrative that's mine, no longer just a snippet, a taste of someone's wine. Between courses it's scary being the main event, the singer and the song, but I'd rather be a solo that might last than an interlude that's wrong and too short. Maybe everyone is someone's interlude at some point, it's true, a chapter in the book they're writing just for them, not you. But the pain is in the knowing, in the feeling, like a space designed to be filled later, not a permanent embraced in love place. I was your interlude, a beautiful brief pause between the acts of your own life, without a true because or reason to last. You never saw me as the main event, the headline on the stage. I was the calming music as you turned another page in your own story. And when the next great love walked in with her own demanding song, my interlude was I was your interlude. And now the show goes on with a different star to shine upon a different stage. My own show, my own glow. No more interlude, prelude to me. Found it in a drawer, the one we bought that year, with puppies on each mouth, a gesture sweet and clear. After masterclass, we circled dates in different pens. Your blue, my purple ink. Birthdays, anniversaries, the days we'd stop and think we should remember this. Dinner with the Smiths in March, a simple, hopeful scrawl. Camping trip in August, the biggest ride in a row. Now a phantom vet, and in December, just a heart around the 24th. A silent promise of a future of our own hearts that home. Now it's the calendar of us, it's timeline of our death. Each circle date a ghost now, each a stolen breath of what could have been. I flipped through the pages, and you was the credit crew of how we learned to barely cope with the mundane until the mundane was all we had. The calendar of us, and every month is sad with the weight of plans unmade. It ends in June with nothing, a break in empty square. Story stops mid-sentence in the summer air, where you left. I should throw it in the recycling, start a brand new year, but my hand won't obey. It holds this relic, tears, evidence, proof that we tried to plan a life to mark for time as ours, to plant our little flags in the passing hours and claim them. Baby, every love has a calendar with its own expiration date. Baby, we just didn't see the best by until it was too late to save it. Maybe the dates we circled were just wishes, not a fact, and the empty squares were where the real love got parked away in silence. Now it's the calendar of us, a timeline of our death. blank and empty square. The story stops mid-sentence in the sober air where you live, page after page, a cage of dates, the kind of us and our fates. Found it in a drawer. Page after page, and I found it in a drawer. 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 I found it in a start with the sheets, the ones that still smell like your sleep. Pour in the detergent, watch the agitated swelling deep. Water turn gray, I scrub the coffee mug you always use. The world's okay, you stare. A joke before the kids we never had, faded like the glaze. I mop the floors where your boots left their faint, insistent trace. I wipe the bathroom mirror, erasing the shared space of our reflections. It's a methodical wet ritual, this cleaning of the slate. Trying to eliminate, trying to abate the ghost of you in grime. I'm washing you soap and water and with time, scrubbing at the memories, trying to make them rhyme with over, but some stains are set, some smells cling to the air. No matter how I rinse and rain, no matter how I stare at the empty suds, you're in the very steam that rises from the sink, in every droplet, in every link of this chain of chores. I'm washing you away, but the water's never clear. I'm just moving you around from here to there, and back again, and back again. The final load will be the sweater, the one I stole and kept. I'll put it in on gentle cycle while I quietly wept for its softness. And when it's done, it'll be smaller, matted, not the same. A perfect symbol of this futile, loving, losing game of cleanliness. Maybe you can wash a person out. Maybe they're a dye that soaks into the fibers of your life. Under the sky of every day, maybe washing away is just a hopeful, busy lie to make the helpless feeling of goodbyes feel like control. I'm washing you away with soap and water and with time, scrubbing at the memories, trying to make them rhyme with over, but some stains are set, some smells cling to the air. No matter how I rinse and rinse, no matter how I stare at the empty suds, you're in the very steam that rises from the sink. In every droplet, in every link of this chain of chores, I'm washing you away, but the water's never clear. I'm just moving you around from here to there and back again. Spin cycle, the spiral of washing you away. Damn, at the end of the day. I've studied all the masters, the dramatic and the clean, the slam door, the burning letter, the silent stoic scene. In the movies I rehearsed the angry speech, the teary whispered plea, every version of the ending that could possibly set me free from you. I've bought the ticket out of town, I've packed the symbolic box, I've practiced my expression in the mirror, steady as the rocks. I wish I were, but when the moment came, my heart deserted me. All my practice poise was just a failed philosophy of leaving. But the art of goodbye is messy, it's a finger painting mess. It's not a perfect sonnet, it's a frantic wild guess. The closure is dropping the last box, it's fumbling with the keys. It's a snotty, ugly saw brought on by a springtime breeze that smells like us. It's an unfinished sentence, a hand that won't let go. It's a masterpiece of failure that only I will know. I created the art of goodbye. It's the hardest thing I've tried, and the canvas is my heart, and the paint has all dried in the wrong colors. Now I'm left with the aftermath, a studio of pain, spilled emotions on the floor like a persistent stain. On the heart be art. Maybe they're just life, drawing uncurated, cutting like a knife through the ordinary. Maybe the beauty's in the mess, in the lack of design, in the proof that something real was once yours and mine, to lose so badly. But the art of goodbye is messy. It's a finger painted mess. It's not a perfect sonnet. It's a frantic wild guess. The closure is dropping the last box. It's fumbling with the keys. It's a snotty, ugly saw brought on by a springtime breeze that smells like us. It's an unfinished sentence, a hand that won't let go. It's a masterpiece of failure that only I will know. I created the art of goodbye. It's the hardest thing I've tried, and the canvas is my heart, and the paint has all dried, and the wrong colors, my gallery of goodbyes under gray skies. The art of goodbye is just a in disguise, in disguise. I see the white flag in your eyes, the surrender in your stance. You're ready to abandon this, to take the easier chance on nothing you've already mentally moved out, packed your bags of hope. You're standing at the edge of our faith, thinning the rope, ready to jump. And part of me wants to let you, to cut the cord, to be done, to stop the bleeding, to turn and face the sun of a life alone. But a fierce, so stubborn, stupid part of me digs in one last defiant stand before the end begins in earnest. This is love's last resistance, a final feeble fight, not with you, but with the dying of I. In my own soul, I'm not fighting for you anymore. I'm fighting for the yours that was. For that ghost of our potential, for a broken sacred cause. Can't believe I'm raising sword against the tide of your apathy, screaming. But remember that the use forgetting me, and all we build is love's last resistance. And I already know I'll lose, but I have to stand here in my worn out emotional shoes, and make you see the ruin before you turn your back. I'll list our favorite moments, I'll remind you of the tune we danced to in the kitchen, beneath the paper moon we painted. You look at me with pity, like I'm a child touching a toy that's broken. And you'll say it's time for joy to be found elsewhere. And you'll be right, and I'll be empty, and the war will be done. Maybe resistance is just a state of grief, a last ditch crazy dream to believe you can change the current of the street with your bare hands. Maybe it's necessary, this final furious burst to expend the last love, to quench the very thirst for the fight, so you can surrender truly when it's over. This is love, the last resistance, a final feeble fight, not with you but with the dying of our life. My old soul, I'm not fighting for you anymore. You're fighting for the us that was, for the ghost of a potential, for a broken sacred cause. Can't believe I'm raising a sword against the tide of your apathy, screaming, remember, at the youth forgetting me. And all we built is love, last resistance, and I already know I lose, but I have to stand here in my worn out, emotional shoes, and make you see the ruin before you turn your back. I lay down my arms, no more alarms. Love's the last resistance, was my final foolish distance from the truth. You did the math, I'm sure of it, on some spreadsheet in your mind. Color made the history, the memories we'd find. Hard to replace, column B, the future cost, the compromise, the strain of dealing with my feelings like a financial drain on your freedom. You factored in the variables, my laughter and my tears, my dreams, my quiet fears across the coming years. As liabilities, the assets dwindle with each petty small dispute, until the final calculation showed a negative absolute, certain sum. It was love's cold calculus, a brutal logic game, where the heart's a fuzzy variable without a proper name or value. You tallied up the pros and cons on a balance sheet of soul and decided that the cost of love had taken too great a toll. On your bottom line, you traded in our warmth for a solitary, clean, zero state, a risk-free empty cell where you could simply wait for a better offer. It was love's cold calculus, and I was just a rope, dated to be analyzed and then be let go when the numbers didn't lie. My heart doesn't work with numbers, it works with messy, vibrant art, with feeling and with faith and a wildly trusting heart that can't be quantified. So your calculation broke me with its sterile, sharp precision, leaving me with a chaotic human raw collision of grief. Maybe love is anti-math, it's the 1 + 1 that makes 3. It's the illogical expansion of what you can be together, and your calculator brain could never comprehend that the greatest sums are those you cannot plan or end with an equal sign. It was love's cold calculus, a brutal logic game, where the heart's a fuzzy variable without a proper name or value. You tallied up the pros and cons on a balance sheet of soul and decided that the cost of love had taken too great a toll. On your bottom line, you traded in our warmth for a solitary, clean, zero state, a risk-free empty cell where you could simply wait for a better offer. It was love's cold calculus, and I was just a rope, data to be analyzed and then be let go when the numbers didn't lie. Equation unbalanced, my heart in hands by loss. Love's cold calculus is my boss's cross. It wasn't in the words you said that this isn't working line. It was a silence after a quality sign. In the air, it was the finality of your car door, solid thunk, the empty echo in the hall as your presence shrunk to nothing. It was the absence of your key in the lock at 5:30. The missing rhythm of your footsteps keeping me alive. With expectation, it was the quiet of the phone that never rang again. A new flash, silent tone beneath the noise of rain on the roof. That was the sound of goodbye, a deafening hollow roar. Not a bang, but the closing of a permanent door. In my soul, it's the quietest sound I've ever known. This vast and empty ache, the sonic boom of a future that you chose to break and walk away from. It rings in my ears on loop. There's nothing this profound, like a frequency that only I can hear. The colors, every thought black. score to all the lonely parades of my days. I try to fill it with music, with podcasts, with a friend's voice, but the sound of goodbye is a permanent haunting choice. My heart has made it's the baseline of my new life, the slow and constant hum of what's missing, of what will never come back. Maybe every ending has its own unique destructive sound, a slam door, a car breath, a body hitting ground. Metaphorically, and mine is just this absence of a sound I come to need, the quiet eradication of a loving daily deed and all its noise. There was a sound of goodbye, a deafening hollow roar, not a bang, but the closing of a permanent door in my soul. It's the quietest sound I've ever known, this vast and empty ache, the sonic boom of a future that you chose to break and walk away from. It rings in my ears on loop. There's nothing this profound, like a frequency that only I can hear, the colors, every thought black. With its silence, there was a sound of goodbye, and it never really fades. It just becomes the background score, all the lonely parades of my days. Listen, the glisten of a tear is the only thing I hear. The sound of goodbye is near. You rolled in with a thunderclap, a lightning in your eyes. You uprooted my quiet garden with your passionate wild skies, and I welcomed it. You were the rain after a drought, a thrilling, dangerous chase. You rearranged my furniture, you took up all the space in my atmosphere. For a while it was exhilarating to live inside the gate, to feel so fiercely wanted, to know I would not fail, to be noticed. But storms are meant to settle, they're meant to pass on through, and you just kept on raging till everything I knew was soaked and broken. Because you were the storm, and I was just the sheltered land. You were the furious, beautiful, destructive taking hand of nature. You flooded all my cellars, you split my oldest tree. You left me with the wreckage of what I used to be. Before the weather, and now the sky is clear, pale and empty blue, and I'm surveying all the damage that was done by you. In the name of passion, you were the storm, and I mistook the chaos for a sign. Now I'm rebuilding in the sunshine and the quiet. I hear you're raining somewhere else, on some other willing town, and part of me pities her as her world comes down. right elsewhere. 'Cause you were the storm, and I was just a sheltered land. You were the furious, beautiful, destructive taking hand of nature. You flooded all my cellars, you split my oldest tree. You left me with the wreckage of what I used to be. Before the weather, and now the sky is clear, pale and empty blue, and I'm surveying all the damage that was done by you. In the name of passion, you were the storm, and I mistook the chaos for a sign. Now I'm rebuilding in the sunshine and the quiet. Storm past, calm at last. You were the storm, I am the aftermath. I am the aftermath. You fell for the summer me, the one with the easy laugh, the one who didn't overthink the photograph. For the future you love, the girl in the sundress with the margarita in her hand, not the woman with the mortgage, trying to understand the tax forms. You adore the comfort and adventure, map spread on the hood, not the anxious one who wondered if she could or should ignore. You cherish the idea of who I was when we began, a polished, shiny surface, not the complex inner plan of a real person. You loved a fusion of me, the one that was fun and light. And when the seasons changed and I came into a different side of myself, you were disappointed. The version you had in your mind couldn't coexist with the woman you would find. Over time, you loved a snapshot, not the moving, living film. You loved me on my best behavior, when my heart was at the brim with novelty. You loved the version, and the real me moved on, leaving you with the ghost, and me finally gone from your limited view. Now I'm alone, but I'm hold every version in one frame, the summer and the winter, and I'm learning not to blame myself for growing up a complex, messy, true edition, complete. And maybe someone else will love the woman, not this sweet and fading ideal. Maybe we all don't this in the beginning, see the highlight reel, and call it love before the day we choose reveal the full picture. For real love is love in the director's cut, beyond editing. memories archived. I'm alive. You love the version I survived the revision. You loved, you fell for version I survived the revision. You fell for the summer me, the version you love, the version you fell for, not a visible mark, not a line upon my skin. It's a weakness in my laughter, a hesitation to begin again. It's the way I flinch at slamming doors, the way I double check my words, a permanent inscription of the lessons and the hurts you authored. You signed your name in insecurity, in the doubt that shadows me, in the fear that love is just a temporary breaking sea. Against the rocks you carved your initial, in my trust a deep and lasting groove, a reminder with every move I make towards someone new. You left your signature on my scar, a permanent ugly scrawl, a tattoo on my spirit, the deepest hurt of all. Because it's hidden, every new hand that touches me will feel the rays, the wound, and wonder at the story, at the darkness they've exhumed. In my light I try to cover it with confidence, with a brave and bright facade, but your signature is there on the postcard of my soul. addressed to never again. My scar, your signature, you don't get to be proud. You just left me in a silent, aching crowd of one. I'm in therapy, they call it healing, learning to reclaim the skin that holds your name within. As a lesson, not a definition, but some nice scar aches with a phantom stupid pain. And I trace the letters of your name in the dark, and I hate you. Maybe a scar is just a story, maybe a signature can fade. Maybe I'll rewrite the narrative in a different kind of shade of ink. Maybe one day my scar will be a landmark, not a brand, a part of my topography, on my own chosen land that I rule. And your signature will just be weathering an old graffiti tag, not the headline of my story, not the dragging heavy bag I carry. You left your signature on my scar, a permanent ugly scrawl, a tattoo on my spirit, the deepest hurt of all. Because it's hidden, every new hand that touches me will feel the raised old wound and wonder at the story, at the darkness they've exhumed in my light. I try to cover it with confidence, with a brave and bright facade. Your signature is there on the postcard of my soul, addressed to never again. My scar, your signature, you don't get to be proud. You just left me in a silent, aching crowd of one. Your autograph on my epitaph, I left one day. My scar, your signature will just say I got away. The house has its own memory. It holds the sound of you in the way it settles after midnight, in the distant ghostly coo of the pipes. I'll hear you laugh, rebound from the hallway, just a trace, a trick of acoustics in this empty waiting space. Or is it you're in the hum of the refrigerator, the rhythm of the heat, a resonant low frequency that makes my own heart beat and answer the walls, absorbed our arguments, our whispers and our cheers. And now in the quiet they release them back to feed my fears and my longing. It's your echo in the walls, a permanent soft vibration, the architecture of our love left to this strange narration. By plaster and wood, I can't renovate it out, I can't soundproof my heart. It's woven in the very structure, it's the essential part of this home's foundation. Sometimes I'll speak just to hear my voice bounce back and imagine yours replying on that old familiar track of conversation. Your echo in the walls is the loneliest company, a reminder that a house is not a home when it's just me and your ghost in the drywall. I play music loudly, trying to drown the subtle sound But in the silent gaps between the songs, the echo can be found. Persistent is a part of the house now, like the color of the paint, a feature I didn't order, a whisper of a saint, of a past life. Maybe one day I'll sell the place, let new voices fill the rooms, let new laughter chase the echoes into forgotten glooms in the attic. But for now I'm the caretaker of this sonic monument, paying the mortgage on a love that came and went and left its voice behind. It's your echo in the walls, a permanent soft vibration, the architecture of our love left to this strange narration. By plaster and wood, I can't renovate it out, I can't soundproof my heart. It's woven in the very structure, it's the essential part of this home's foundation. Sometimes I'll speak just to hear my voice bounce back, and imagine yours replying on that old familiar track of conversation. Your echo in the walls is the loneliest company, a reminder that a house is not a home when it's just me and your ghost in the drywall. Echo. Just your echo in the wall, so slow.